In my debates with Christians who believe in the literal truth of the Bible, I'm struck by how difficult they find it to think about the implications of the two most important characteristics they attribute to their God: omniscience and omnipotence. In a previous video, I discussed how omniscience and omnipotence are the most important context biblical literalists inevitably ignore when discussing God's behavior. In this video, I hope to make the point even clearer by using a monologue to reveal the approximate thought process the literal God of the Bible had to have gone through before he created the universe, assuming a thinking mind could even exist outside of material spacetime in the first place. It goes like this. I, God, wish to be adored and revered, so I shall create angels to worship me. Among them will be an angel of great beauty and wisdom, and he will be called Lucifer. However, my plan is to make Lucifer so bright that he will inevitably rebel against me and convince a third of the angels to side with him. Although I will of course be able to destroy Lucifer simply by willing him so, I will instead wage a great battle with him and his rebel angels, and then cast them out of heaven. Lucifer will henceforth be known as Satan, the great deceiver. This is exactly how I wish my plan to unfold. But the worship of angels will be insufficient for me, so I shall also create an entire universe, and on just one small planet I shall create mankind. But I do not wish these creations to come anywhere near me, so I shall design them to be incapable of approaching me. The first man and woman, Adam and Eve, I shall deliberately create to have no knowledge of good and evil. Then I shall place them in the Garden of Eden with the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and I shall forbid them from consuming its fruit. But then I shall allow Satan into the garden to deceive Adam and Eve into eating the fruit. Of course, lacking any knowledge of good and evil, Adam and Eve will be unaware that it is good to obey me and evil to believe Satan, and thus I already know it will be impossible for them to avoid eating the fruit. Only then will they become capable of understanding good and evil. But it will be too late. I shall become angry at them for doing exactly what I designed and arranged for them to do, and I shall banish them from the garden, strip them of their immortality, and make them suffer for the rest of their lives. I shall then allow them to reproduce into the billions, and I shall give each one a mind that is incapable of avoiding becoming wicked, except for a single righteous family of 8. Then I shall drown all the wicked people I created in a massive flood, and make those 8 survivors start all over again. Of course, I could simply start humanity with one of those 8 righteous people, instead of Adam and Eve, but if I did so, then I would have no need to inflict suffering upon my creations. And for similar reasons, I shall leave the template of mankind unchanged, so that the descendants of those 8 survivors will be unable to avoid turning evil, and wickedness will once again spread throughout humanity. And I have great plans for all those billions of wicked people yet to come. To begin with, I shall decide not to tolerate the very wickedness that I have designed mankind to inevitably choose. My response shall be to demand that they frequently slaughter innocent animals to appease me, for I love the smell of blood and burnt flesh, and I shall order them to slaughter one another by the thousands. Eventually I shall demand a human sacrifice, which will finally slake my bloodlust. But that won't be the end of what I have planned for mankind, oh no. Although I could easily reveal unquestionable evidence to everyone which is the true religion all must follow in order to achieve salvation, I shall not do so. Instead, I shall conceal my existence from humanity, knowing that they will fracture into thousands of different religions. Satan, of course, will do his best to deceive people into believing the wrong religions, and I shall do nothing to stop him, despite the ease with which I could do so. No, my plan is to send all those billions of confused and deceived souls to be tortured for all eternity in hell. As for the rest, those few who happen to choose the correct religion, I shall destroy their memories they have of their lives on earth, and force them to worship me forever and ever. Yes, in the end, I wish to be worshipped by millions of souls, while I observe the unending torture of billions of other souls. And to do that, I shall hide my presence and use my great deceiver Satan to ensure the vast majority of humanity makes the wrong choices. And to do that, I shall create mankind incapable of avoiding wickedness. And to do that, I shall create them incapable of knowing good and evil, and then punish them for allowing themselves to be deceived. And to do that, I shall create an angel designed to rebel against me and to deceive humanity. So that is my plan. That is what I wish to pass. I see it all before me, for I am all-knowing, and no one can stop me, for I am all-powerful. And despite the misery and the suffering that I shall heap upon humanity, I shall define my actions as good and theirs as evil, for I enjoy the irony almost as much as I enjoy the smell of blood and burnt flesh. And torturing souls forever and ever, of course. While Christians may take offense at the choice of wording I use for God in this monologue, the content is all biblically accurate. It's what had to have gone through God's mind if the Bible is true. It is the inevitable consequence of God being omniscient and omnipotent. Apologists twist themselves in knots to obfuscate and misdirect people from seeing this essential underlying story of the Bible. They invoke free will and repeatedly cast blame on humanity, despite the fact that nowhere in the Bible does it indicate we have free will, and despite the fact that every evil that has befallen humanity, from the fall of Adam and Eve to eternal suffering in the flames of hell, has ultimately been engineered and manipulated by God, as the Bible itself reveals. To claim otherwise is just wishful thinking.